The Wildflower Western Lifestyle Live with host Becca Salamone.
Hey everybody, I'm Becca Salamone and you're watching Wildflower Western Lifestyle Live. And I'm so excited to have some special guests on the show with me today. They are from Partial, is it called Partial, Colorado? I hope I'm saying that correctly. They
You
are
are so.
they are the owners of the bar Lazy J Ranch, guest ranch out there, and they've been doing that for quite a while. And so we want to bring them on here and get their story, especially knowing that this is the centennial year for the DRA. And I think y'all are over 100 years old. So we wanted to get all those stories from you. Welcome to the show, Cheri and Cheri Helmicki.
Yeah, thank you.
And I love that your names kind of match. That's so cute. So tell me a little bit of, like about your background and how you got into dude ranching, and that wasn't your background originally, right?
Not originally, no. Either of us. It's been 31 years now that we've been out here running the ranch. But yeah, we lived in the Detroit area of Michigan, the metro area, and we were in our own careers. And but this was a lifestyle that we really were interested in, and to be able to come out west and live and do the things we enjoy, and to be able to still be make a living off of it. So we came out, and 31 years we're still doing it.
That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourselves too. Like, how did you meet? Were you both into horses, or how'd that go?
Cheri, you want to take that?
Well, we always kind of laugh because we met at a family reunion, my family reunion, and that. But probably the biggest thing was our love of the outdoors. We both were backpackers and liked adventure and canoed and did all kinds of things and be in the outdoors. I have been riding since I was 5. I grew up in Nebraska in that and used to hang out at a horse farm and stuff for a lot of years, and that's how I got my love of horses in that. And then Jerry at one point surprised me with a horse for Christmas one year, and then he fell in love with it as well, and we bought a second horse, and that became a big part of what we did. So
And that's when you were
yeah,
still living in the East. Is that right?
Yeah, we were
in
still
Michigan,
living in
yeah,
Michigan.
I was a high school teacher and coach, and he was a marketing guy. So
Okay, awesome. All right. So what was the moment that kind of defined that you're going to go out west and run a guest ranch?
Well, actually, it's kind of a funny story. We've always done adventure type vacations, and years ago we went on a vacation at a dude ranch in Colorado, and it was probably one of the worst vacations we've ever had. Okay. And but we were stuck because we flew. We didn't have a car. We took a bus from the airport to the ranch, and it was Fourth of July week, and there was no other place to go. But we didn't realize it at the time. But the ranch was going out of business.
Oh
They
boy.
had they actually already sold, so they weren't too excited about maintaining their probably prior levels of hospitality and so on. So really, what we did is, but we enjoyed the location. We enjoyed the whole operation of what was behind running the ranch, and we spent the whole week just thinking about, well, only if we own this place, how we could make things better,
Right.
and how we could run it in a way that would be more appropriate and more appealing for guests. So that actually what got us started uh, on looking at a guest ranch for what we wanted to do for the rest of our lives. So a few years later, we had a window of opportunity where we could look at doing something different. We were both very successful in our careers. Her as a teacher and coach, and me as a marketing sales executive. And but we wanted to change a lifestyle and to be able to do something to offer something more for people. And the guest ranch just seemed to check all the boxes that we had. So we we went and looked at Bar Lazy J, and basically we came, we saw, we bought, and
Awesome.
it just fit all the boxes, and Who would have thought 31 years later we'd still be here, but we are, and we're still
Yeah,
doing.
that's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the Bar Lazy J itself and its history. It was founded in 1912. Is that right?
Well, 1912 is when they started taking guests from the public. The ranch was actually purchased in 1904. So some of the buildings on the ranch were there in 1904. But between 1904 and 1912, it was private. And then in 1912, they started taking guests. And so we are considered to be the oldest continuously operating guest ranch in Colorado. There are ranches that are older, but we have log books that can show that we have continuously been taking guests for what is now, 114 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So how many owners has it had over the years?
Well, what do you say, Sherry? I think we're like the sixth.
Six. There's
Yeah.
six. There were six owners.
Hmm.
That were there was someone that was in between but didn't make it. It went back to the person that they had purchased it off of. But really, there were six owners, and we're the second longest. The original owners were 42 years, and we've been here 31.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Now I watched some videos somewhere. It might have been for the DRA celebration. Um, but it was talking. You were talking about. Some of you were talking about like what you did to refurbish the ranch and bring some a more Western feel to it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, when we purchased the ranch, as I said, it was being sold, and it didn't have it had all the boxes we were looking for, but we wanted to improve it even more. And one of the objectives was to make it a little more Western themed. So it was lacking in some of the artwork and some of the amenities that would go along with what we wanted to be more of a Western ranch. So over the years, it's been a work in progress, but we've added a lot of art and a lot of decorations to make it more of that traditional Western flair.
Okay. And do you have any of the original memorabilia, furnishings, things like that from the 1900s?
Yeah, we still have a lot of the original dining room chairs, some dressers, um, and some furniture that was actually built by the original owner that we still have in the main lodge. And there's actually some of the furniture that's on some of the porches and the guest cabins. So yeah, there's a mixture of some of the old original uh, historical furniture and artifacts, as well as ones that we've added since we've owned.
Okay.
Everything needed just a little TLC. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that was my next question is, did you have to do anything to restore that furniture or what now? How do you care for it to keep it going?
Well, like I said, it is a work in progress. Yeah, a lot of it was restored. Cheri did a lot of reupholstering of furniture. I did a lot of refinishing. We both did furniture. Some of the log buildings needed to be, not redone, but refurbished. Kind of to bring them back to life a little bit. Some of the interiors all needed, in the cabins needed improvements, so that they'd be more comfortable, for the guests. So yeah, it's been an ongoing process. We've never worked harder in our lives since we moved out here, but we've never enjoyed working as hard either because it's something that we have a passion for, and that's a big part of what being a member of the Dude Ranchers Association. That was a big part of why I think we're still here because when we came out here, we didn't have a whole lot of background in this business, and so we use the associations for their knowledge and the experience and being able to help us answer a lot of questions and get us going in our early years.
Yeah, that was one of my next questions as well. Like the educational aspect of, you've never done this before. So how do you learn? Are there available resources to learn how to run a dude ranch?
Well, there's not a lot of available resources, but there are the associations. There's a state association, and then there's a national association. And one thing I learned, coming out of my former business, the people who were in similar businesses were all competitors with each other. There wasn't a whole lot of sharing of information among
Right.
your competitors. But in the dude ranch business, we're all best friends. I mean, yeah, we're all competitors. We're all, trying to get guests here to offer a dude ranch experience. But we're the friendliest, most, a bunch of owners who are willing to share and offer advice. And that helped us a lot in our early years. We used the association. Actually, they assigned us uh, a, uh,
Mentor.
mentor our first year,
Oh
and
wow.
a lot of phone calls took place between the mentor and us.
I
And,
bet.
yeah, and it really helped us get started.
Well, I think
Um,
the other key factor is that we came up with what our personal philosophy was, what we wanted to accomplish with the ranch. And we kind of stuck with that and have still to this day stuck with that and worked toward that. And that kind of was the central part of what we were trying to accomplish,
okay. And what were you trying to accomplish in a
to give
nutshell?
our guests a experience rather than a vacation. And to us, an experience means it touches their lives. It's something
Right.
that they walk away from and go, wow, that was, way beyond, just a general vacation. They gain new friendships. They get to know and understand the simpler life in that of what we have here at the ranch. And it's very rewarding to watch that happen.
Definitely. Since we're talking about that, let's kind of transition a little bit to talk about technology, the effect on the family, the individual, and what a dude ranch vacation can do to restore your soul.
Well, I think we could comment on that, but that's one of the things that I think is a big positive factor in in who we are and what we offer is, with things the way they are now out in the business world and just out in society in general with the electronics and everything, to be able to come to an environment like a dude ranch, and to have that opportunity to just be in a different, atmosphere and environment than what you left is refreshing and rewarding. And we hear that constantly from our guests, what it meant for them to have a week. And that's what we offer is a week's program, to have that week where they can take a deep breath and be refreshed from not having to deal with a lot of the things they have to deal with when they go back home. So,
We have no TVs, none of that is here at the ranch. And the kids, you get to see these kids, a lot of kids who can't just run free,
Hmm.
they can here on the ranch. It's a very safe environment that they can do that. And to watch them formulate great friendships, be able to feed the animals, be able to ride horses twice a day, be able to play capture the flag with a bunch of new people that they just got to know, to see those kinds of things take place is really a great feeling.
Awesome. Yeah. So what? Tell us a little bit about your core values, and do you try to impart some of those values to people, um, out in the open, or does it just happen naturally as well?
well, I think a combination of both. I think a lot of it just happens naturally because of the environment and atmosphere they're in. But I also believe that we do emphasize how important it is for them to, as Cheri likes to say, just kind of step back, while you're here and step back to, maybe a little simpler time where you're not on your phone all the time and you're not worrying about, what new, Facebook post or what new text might be coming in. We, uh, we can't stop people from using their electronics, but we certainly downplay it, and we emphasize. Hopefully, that's a large part of why they come to an environment like ours is to get away from that. And for the most part, the guests appreciate that. And a lot of times at the end of the week, they will say, "I can't believe the whole week went by and my kids didn't, ask about the T or the C word, the television or the computer." So in that respect, yes, I think we do have an impact on
Yeah.
their, yeah.
And
I,
they can do as much or as little as they want to do. I mean, it's really up to every individual. I mean, there's lots of things to do at the ranch, but whatever it is that they want that's going to make their vacation special, that's what we want to have happen for them.
Exactly. I just was going to make a quick comment that I saw some video where people said that they would get in trouble with Miss Cheri if they had their phone. Is that
That
right?
is true.
Yeah.
I kind of that's kind of the role that I have, and I give them a hard time. You know, I have been known to steal a phone or two or an iPad and make them sing to get it back or
Oh,
whatever.
there you
But
go.
just you make it you make it a little funny, a little fun in that, but yet you make your point at the same time.
Yeah. And I think I heard you singing a little song about that, didn't I?
I did, yeah,
You
absolutely.
want, do you want to sing it here or no?
That is certainly up to you. But yeah, you know, I do that every week because, you know, it kind of everybody laughs, but it kind of helps make that point in
Okay.
that. And that's really, you know, what it's all about in that. And you've got to remember that if they're on their phone all the time running around, they are impacting other people's vacation that want to
Right.
be away from all of that. And
Right.
that's not fair in that. So we just try to emphasize that.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can show some of these pictures in here while we're talking. Those are kind of tiny, but can you see that? It's the
Yes.
archery picture.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just kind of tell us a little bit about some of the activities that we're going to show the pictures on. So people can do archery for one thing, right?
Both the kids and the adults. The kids have a time where they do archery and hatchet throwing, and then we have a time when all everybody it's one of the evening activities. Hmm.
Okay. And then this looks like maybe they're doing some kind of play, like dress up or play. Is that right? Right. There's a teepee in the background. They're running. Can you see that?
They're playing on the main area. We have Fort Hart and the teepees and that, which is kind of the kids' play area. There's swing set there and a you know, a teeter totter and all kinds of things along those lines. That picture there with the painted face, they get to go on a roundup once a week, which is on a Thursday night where they all get on a hayride. They go over to another site and they sing songs and they paint faces and tell stories and hunt for an antler.
S'mores.
It's a make s'mores and have all kinds of good stuff. And then they come back and join our adult campfire, which is taking place at the
Okay.
ranch at the same time.
Is that a seesaw with a saddle on it?
Yes,
That's
it
correct.
is.
I think I want one.
Hey, we are a Western ranch, so it's part of the Western
Yeah,
Hemisphere.
that's right. And lots of goats. I'm seeing lots of goats in your TikTok videos and things like that.
Lots of animals. And part of the kids' program is they're responsible for all the petting corral animals. So there's goats, there's a Highlands cow, there's you know, donkeys, there's all those animals out there, and they feed them and take care of them and get in and play with them every day, twice a day.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah,
Mhm.
teacher's responsibility.
Yes, it
I
does.
started when I was 5 with horses, so I understand that fully. There's your
And,
playground.
and that's Fort Hart right there. That's a you know, we built that fort, and you know, there's a lot of activity, little climbing walls, some other things and stuff for them right there. Mhm.
And we're back to archery. Um, yeah, so let's see. We were talking about traditions and core values and everything. And Western hospitality is a big, huge thing. So, like, are there particular traditions about the history of the Western lifestyle that y'all try to portray out there?
Well, a lot of it just the atmosphere we're creating. We are a Western guest ranch. We're offering that Western hospitality, that Western imagery. Um, a large part of that goes back to what some of the core principles are of being a dude ranch and being a member of the Association of Dude Ranches. And there's something that is called the 6 H's, which are sort of the core philosophy behind the ranches that are members, or certain standards or certain expectations that are required to maintain membership. In our association, hospitality is certainly a big one, and service, customer service is huge at our ranch, as well as it is on many on really all the ranches. But we pride ourselves in hiring in with our staff and being able to offer our guests um, just a lot of hospitality and remembering their names and just being you know, talkative and you know and making them feel as welcome as possible for the week they're here because they're here for a week. So it's
Right.
not just you're not just checking in at night, check out in the morning. You don't know their name, you don't know who they are, you know, you don't know anything about them. Our friends, our guests, kind of really become more friends than guests.
The other thing too is we do things we really recognize and try to promote the history of dude ranching and the history of this ranch. Tammy does on Monday. She does a history tour where she walks through the ranch and talks about the ranch starting from 1904 right on through. And she does a really good job to understand that and to link the Ute Indians were very big in our area and there was a relationship between the ranch and the local band of Indians to bring that. We have a wall in our library game room that is the history, and it has the first photo album, all the registration books and stuff going all the way back to the very beginning. It's really kind of cool. And Scott, so we're always addressing those kinds of things.
Yeah, and fortunately, we have photos that go back to 1912
Wow.
of the buildings and how the
Actually, further back, even 1904. I mean, it goes way back to when they first purchased the ranch.
That's so special. So, would you say that those are some of your most favorite things, and you'd point people to those to go look at them?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yep.
Yep.
It's highlighted where they're very accessible for the guests to look at.
Perfect. All right. Also with the Dude Ranchers Association, the DRA that I keep saying DRA, that means Dude Ranchers Association. You are a member of that, so you have to meet certain criteria. So, what is that process like to meet that?
Well, we are a relatively small organization, you know, and as far as the overall hospitality industry, but we're more of a self-regulating industry. We kind of look over each other. We do visitations. The board of directors will visit ranches on a regular basis, just to ensure, make sure that the ranches are upholding how they're advertising themselves and how they're upholding the core principles of being a member. So that's probably the main thing that we do as an association. And I mentioned earlier about the core principles being those 6 H's, which is hats, hospitality, horses, heritage, heart, and honesty. And if a ranch is projecting those values, then that's what's going to differentiate an association ranch from other types of operations.
Definitely. Yeah, that's one of the focuses I want to make in my business is focusing on those 6 H's in terms of do ranching and travel. Um, Also, tell me a little bit about your positions of leadership with the DRA because were you not the president at one time?
Well, it's plural. We were both presidents.
Oh,
Both,
you were. Okay.
Yes, yes.
yeah,
We're the
How
only husband and
fantastic.
wife team. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're famous.
We're the only husband and wife owners who have been past presidents of the association. Cheri was first.
Okay.
I was president of the state association when she was president of the national association, and then years later I took over the national, and she took over the state. So we were both
Wow.
presidents of both organizations. But a lot of it goes back to those early years. We we recognized the importance of the association and how important they were in helping us become successful and to become enabling us to sustain the 31 years. And so we appreciate what the association is and what it stood for, and we just felt an obligation to give back a little bit. So we had no problem becoming involved. We were only a few years into ownership when both of us got on boards. Sherry was,
1998.
yeah,
Wow.
and I was on the Colorado board, and we just been very involved in those associations.
It's also valuable to be in the association to know what's going on in the industry, to be able to keep up with what's happening out there in that. And we recognize the value of that. And Jerry and I were, and now Tammy is also involved now. She's on the board for the Colorado. So we really, our presence has been there for a very long time.
And Tammy is who?
She's our ranch manager, but she's also now, part of the ownership of the ranch. She's been with us 27 years, and her husband Chad came a few years later, and he's been with us 24 years. And they married and have raised their family here on the ranch, and they've been with us, and they are the successors to our ranch. So
Okay, that was one of my questions. So that's good to know. So you've got a plan to keep everything going. That's great. And talking about that, it's a 100 year. It's the 100th year for the DRA. Um, what are people saying about continuing dude ranching into the future, and what the challenges are going to be, and how they're going to surmount those challenges?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always challenges involved, but we've sustained for a long period of time, and as I said earlier, I think there's a definite value and there's a definite place for what we offer to guests. So I, I think I know we feel, and I believe the association does, that there's going to be room for us in the future, because I think what we offer our guests is something is not going to go away. In fact, if anything, it may just even become more apparent and more wanted by the public. So I feel very positive about the future and what it holds for the ranches.
well, and the reality is, I mean, this is a very high overhead kind of business. I mean, there's just with horses, you're running a hotel, a restaurant. You have a children's program, a horse program. I mean, all these entities in that. So you just have to, and that's what has probably hurt some ranches. Just can't handle all those entities, and you have to be able to balance it. You've got to be able to, if you're going to get into this, think you're going to make millions and millions of dollars. No, but you're going to make all kinds of heartfelt, changing people's lives, affecting that. It's a lifestyle. And that's what makes it so critically important, is just to keep promoting that lifestyle, to encourage people to step back, to come together as a family, to have family and friends come and to do something like that, and just relax and enjoy what's out there.
Definitely. So, do you have any favorite memories or stories with the guest or with your family, either one, in that situation, dude ranching?
We just had a family that was here, the Pronskys, that have been coming here 15 years in a row. And we've watched these kids as little kids start out here, 4 or 5. I think Andrew was like 4 years old when they first started here, and watch them all grow up and are in different walks of life. And guess what? What is their priority every year? To come to the bar, Lazy J. And
Wow.
these guys are not young anymore. They're in their 20s. The youngest, I think Andrew now is 17, and to still want to come and be a part of this because it has affected them and brings them together in a very special environment. No matter how busy they are, they're all going to make sure that this happens so they can come here together.
Yeah,
Is
and I think when you asked about any particular moments, I think it's almost every week, because what we see is guests come here, they arrive Sunday, they're they're glad to be here, but they're all wound up because they had to make all the plans to get here. They had to, get the house sitter, the gardener sitter, and the plane coming out here, and maybe waiting for the rental car, and then driving to the ranch. And mom or dad, whoever made the bookings, are concerned about, did we make the right decision? How's the ranch going to be when we get there? So they're a little wound up. So we recognize that, and we try to make it, the first impression is very important. And then what we see, and it happens every week, is we see as the week goes on how the shoulders become a little lower, they're a little less tense. They're getting more and more into what it is that we have to offer them. They're enjoying that, and when they leave on Sunday, they're in a whole different, I don't want to say mood, but they're in a whole different frame of mind than
mm-hmm.
when they arrived, and it's rewarding to see that, and that's
A lot of tears, a lot of
Oh, I
departing
bet.
tears.
I bet.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And do you keep in touch with these families and people throughout the years? I mean, throughout the year until they come back.
Well, yeah, we have newsletters and through we're active on social media and so on. So and we send out Christmas holiday type things. But
Right.
yeah, there are, as I say, there are times where we vacation. A lot of our guests are now some of our best friends, and we do a lot of things in the off season together. And a lot of guests will come back in the off season because maybe they come out in the winter to ski. We're only a summer operation, so we're not open in the winter. We're here, but we're not open for guests. But a lot of guests will come in. They'll be driving through, and they'll stop in and say hi, or we'll go out and have a dinner or whatever, and or just kind of visit for a little bit. So yeah, there is ongoing communication.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the main draw, which is the horses, right?
Hmm.
So you and I know. I mean, it takes you know finding a good ranch horse is hard, and something that's reliable that the kids can ride on, and the people that have never ridden horses before. So tell us a little bit about your horse program, how you get your horses, how you get them trained, and then just the care of them. Who wants to go?
Hmm.
Well, again, just like the ranch, it's a work in process. We As far as finding horses, people say, well, where do you find them, and or, who do you use, where do you go? If we find a good horse, that's the main thing we're looking for. Whether it's at an auction, whether it's through a trader, whether it's from a private owner, or another ranch, or a local nearby. If it's a good horse that we feel will work for us, we're gonna give that horse a try. And we pride ourselves. We own all of our own horses. We have a herd of over 100, and so we spend the time so that we can say when our guests get here, we spend the time working with the horses so that they can do their job, which is trail riding is the main thing that we're offering. And that I can tell the guests on Monday morning that every horse that we assign a guest is on this ranch because they will do their job. They will do their job if you work with them in a way in which we've worked with them to get them to that point. Now there are some horses that we still have the wranglers working with because they're not quite ready for guests, but every horse we assign a guest is ready, and we're very very proud of the program. Cheri's very involved in overseeing a lot of the training and naming and working with the horses and ensuring our wranglers are working with them in a manner in which we want because there's different ways to do that. So Cheri, you might have a few more comments on that because that's her main thing.
Well, we've been really involved in on all of that, not only with our ranch, but in the association, the horse safety and instructional program and stuff that's promoted through the Dude Ranch Association. I've been directly involved with that from the very beginning, and we really believe that a lot of people can come here, and they can have a lot of experience, or they can be a novice, have never ridden before at all, but their experience might be very different than what we have. Maybe they ride in the arenas, and they don't ride on mountain trails like we do. And we have a very progressive riding program. And in order for us to do that, we have to make sure we give them a good foundation. So our instruction at the beginning, in that we have, different lessons, horsemanship lessons, loping lessons. We'll spend time with making people as comfortable as they can as they progress through the program. And as we see these kids, as they start out, at one level, through the years as they continue to go, that they progress and grow as a rider, and we pride ourselves in being able to assign them the kind of horses that are going to be best for them at that point in time. And our horses have a lot of longevity on the ranch. I mean, many of them are here for years and years and years. They start out in the adult programs and maybe for our advanced riders, and over the years then they're more for the intermediate level riders, and then the beginning level riders, and they go into the kids program and go through all the different levels there. And then, to our finally our buckaroo program, which is our leader rounds. And those are our older horses who have done so much for us, and now they're doing that. They're introducing riding to the little biddies. and
Okay.
get them up there and start to learn about it. And it's really extremely rewarding, very
That's
much so.
perfect. Yeah, I really didn't think about that, but they would go through different levels in their careers.
Oh yes, they do. Hmm.
So, as you're saying all that, I'm thinking, how many people does it take to run this ranch? I mean, that's a lot.
Well, again, it goes back to wanting to meet those expectations and those standards that we set. So yeah, we have the staff that it takes to be able to make sure that we can offer and produce what we offer the guests, and that we're meeting. I take that back. That we're not only meeting but hopefully exceeding
Exceeding,
their
yeah.
expectations. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. I left one picture up there that I have a question on. It's someone riding, and then there's some snowy capped mountains in the background. Is that on your place? You can see that
Yeah.
from your place.
That's Byers Peak and all that. Yep, behind there. It's in part of the property. We are surrounded on three sides by public lands, both state and federal land, etc. So we have a large area to ride in, which is really nice in that. And so there's a lot of variety. So in that particular picture, you've got Byers Peak, St. Louis, and that which is behind, which is there are 12, 12,000, 13,000 feet high peaks.
Wow. So
Hmm.
tell me a little bit more about the different, variety of the landscape there.
Well, we're very fortunate. We're unique in the fact that our ranch, the Colorado River runs through our ranch. So we're at the headwaters. We're only about the Colorado River starts only about, I don't know, 20 miles upstream of us. So a big feature of the ranch, is being on that river. And that picture you're seeing there is a large part of what we market and advertise is the quality of the fishing. We have gold medal water, or water that's designated gold medal, and so fly fishing is huge. And so not only is our trail riding and the gold medal fishing are the primary uh, activities that we can offer guests. And so that's probably the biggest natural feature of the ranch.
And we
So
sit in the Colorado River Valley, but right behind us, there's another major river. The Williams Fork River is just behind us. So we are crossing rivers and going up and down. So that gives it a little bit different, kind of look to it. And as we go through that has made it kind of unique. And then we're surrounded. We're at just under 7,600 feet, but we are surrounded by peaks that are 12 to 14,000 feet, in that. So it's really, really quite dramatic.
Yeah,
yes,
and our geography is diverse. We have some wooded areas, but we're considered high desert, so we're in a lot of the sage country. But what it does is it allows us the geography allows us to offer a lot of different types of riding. Where we could do walking rides, but there's terrain which is conducive for a lot of loping, and we do offer our guests the opportunity to get up and go with their horses and do a fair amount of loping once they've completed our loping lessons and have gone through a lope check and so on. So that's another big thing we're very proud of is the diversity of the types of rides that we offer.
that's awesome. So you're in the Rocky Mountains. So are the trails that are mountainous, are they rocky trails? And how do the horses handle that with their feet?
Well,
Yeah.
they're mountain horses, so they do pretty well. I mean, we're not in. Yeah, we have rocks, but I mean, it's not where they're anything that's dangerous or anything that's that steep. But the horses are all shod and shoed, and they do well on our terrain.
Okay. The reason I was asking that, I was used to do some trail riding, and I would put boots on my horse, on the front at least, and that was always a challenge because boots would come off in the mud and get slung off, and you'd go back down the trail to try to find your boot, and I just wondered how that was handled out there.
Now, well, the
Um,
shoes, I mean, they get shod every, 6 weeks or so. And that, so we have for our adult horses, probably have 3 rounds of shoeing throughout the season, and our kids' horses too, because we're done with our children's horses mid-August when kids all go back to school and all those kinds of things. But they handle it very well. They're good, solid mountain horses. If they can't handle the terrain, they don't belong here. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you mentioned going back to school. So, briefly say you do have some weeks that are adult only weeks, right?
Yes, we do. That's actually a good portion of our program. Our opening week is adults only, but why? Because it's just a little smaller population, gives us a chance to make sure that we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's. And then when the kids go back to school, starting mid-August through the end of September, is adults only. And our adult only program is very popular. Those weeks fill up immediately. I mean, it's become a very, very popular thing for people.
And is it mostly solo travelers coming then, or what type of travelers coming?
Yeah, we get, during our adult weeks, yeah, we get the whole mix. We get, a lot of, seniors, a lot of, we do have singles as well. We have a lot of empty nesters where maybe the kids are in college or out of the house, whatever way, college or married. And so they can come. And then
Friends, groups of friends.
yeah, and then we have groups like we'll have maybe a women's softball team come together, or maybe some old high school friends will get together, and they live in different parts of the country, but Colorado we're kind of is a place. Denver is a kind of place where people could get in and get to the ranch relatively easily. So yeah, so we get for friend groups, singles, couples.
Okay,
And then we also will get some families that, because by families I mean we consider an adult age 13 and over.
okay,
So we do have some families who will come with their older teens or younger adults.
okay, that makes sense. So for your groups, do you find that you have mostly women groups, or do you also have men groups come?
Mostly, if there's groups, they're female. We
Okay,
do get some.
Occasionally though we do get
We do.
surprised by a group of guys. We had a group of
Yeah.
guys that came here, together, that they all had been friends for years and years and years, and they came here and had the time of their life. So you just don't know.
Yeah.
there you go. All right. Well, I saw some of these other activity pictures in here. So, in this group of pictures, what is this? Trap shooting, or what is that?
Yeah, it's trap shooting. We do offer trap shooting for our guests, so we can. There's a public range very close nearby where we can take them and give them an opportunity to shoot trap.
Okay. And then this looks like a zip line. Tell us
It
Yeah,
about
is a zip
that.
line.
we it's kind of funny. We zip lined on a vacation in Costa Rica and thought, boy, that'd be neat to have that at the ranch, maybe. So in 2012, 2012 was the
Right.
centennial
Yep.
of the ranch, because we started, as I said earlier, taking guests since 1912. So 2012 was the 100th anniversary. We thought, okay, well, we got to do something a little extra special. We always do something every year to give the guests something new to look at, the returning guests who have been here before. So we did some research. We ended up hiring a company out of uh, out of the East North Carolina to come out and engineered and decided that it was appropriate to put in a line that at that time was the only one that went across the Colorado River.
Wow.
So you start on one bank and you end up on another, and it's a 1,600-foot run. And so we do offer that to our guests once a week. We offer it on an afternoon where they can zip across the river.
Yeah. Has anybody actually gone into the river?
No,
No,
That's good to know. All
oh
right. Now,
no,
what is this? That's branding of boots.
you hit it right on the nose. Yes, in fact, Cheri and I just did that last night on our Thursday night campfire. We offer our guests to bring in leather, whether it be a wallets, a purse, chaps, chinks, boots, and we have several different size brands with Bar Lazy J, and we will brand their what they bring us.
So that's like a little keepsake they can take home. They
yeah,
always have
yeah.
Barley's Day with them.
Mhm.
Correct.
That's a good idea. Now this is one of my favorites because I'm a line dance instructor. That's my 3/4 time job, not full time yet, but working on it. Um, so tell us about the dancing and Miss Cheri, I saw you dancing in a video, so maybe you want to take that question.
Well, we've had line dancing here, forever and that. And I taught it for 16 years and then
Wow,
passed it along. Then Tammy did it for a number of years, for I think about 8 years. And then another one of our staff took it over for a few years. Now Tammy's back in there with it. And it's just one of the fun activities. And the guests really love it. And yeah, we have something going on every night. And so that's, um, part of that whole thing. Every Wednesday night they do line dancing and
perfect.
that. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what is your nightly schedule? Does it stay the same? Like Wednesdays line dancing. What are the other nights?
Well, yeah, every we have something to offer. Just to run through it. Yeah. Well, Sunday night is orientation, meet your horse because they're just arriving. But Monday we have a team of horses. We'll do a horse-drawn wagon ride after our dinner. Tuesday night we offer the guests hatchet throwing and archery as an evening activity. Wednesday is the line dancing that you see there in the barn. Thursday is a campfire with entertainment, and that's where
And
we'll
the
do the
kids
food
round
grant.
up.
And then the kids do their separate campfire and what we call the roundup for them. On Fridays during our family weeks, we put on what we call a staff show, and in fact, we'll be doing that tonight.
Awesome.
But where all the staff's involved in doing different skits and just kind of fun things, and the guests and we get the kids involved, the guest kids, so they're involved and they get some awards and. As Cheri calls it, the Saturday Night Live of dude ranching.
That kind of
Um,
reminds me of Dirty Dancing. You know that
yeah.
movie?
And then when we get into our adult weeks, we don't do a staff show, but we put on what I'll call like a casino night, and where
Buckhorn Saloon.
yeah, I call it Buckhorn Saloon, where we'll have some tables set up with poker and blackjack and Texas Hold'em, and our
That's
staff
fun.
kind of dresses up in saloon dresses, and our wranglers are more westernized in what they wear, and we have some saloon music going on in the background, and it's a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Now let's talk a little bit about the accommodations and where people are going to rest after a long day doing all those activities. So I've got some bedroom type pictures here to show. You want to talk about those?
We have individual cabins and they vary in size from 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. We have a ranch house, which is a 3 bedroom home that some extended families and stuff do that, and we place them in the accommodations according to the size of the family in that. And yeah, yeah, and they're old. Trust me, they were all built between 1904 and 1920, I'd say. And honestly, true story. Some of the original cabins were canvas and wood tents, and they built the cabins right around the canvas and wood. So the canvas is in the walls. We have 5 cabins that canvas is actually in the walls, you
Wow,
know, because they built the cabins around them.
that's living history right there. So
Yeah.
what is this? Is this a lodge or I can't see what that is?
Yeah, that's actually our recreation hall,
Okay.
which at one time used to be the original barn, but now it's where we do the line dancing, where we'll do the staff show. That's where the kids use it as part of their program, where they'll do different crafts and play different games inside if the weather's bad and so on. So that's your old original barn though.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, there's a hot tub.
Yeah, yeah, that's the guests like that. As you can see, it's used a lot after a long day in the saddle, and the guests like to go in there. We have a heated pool as well, but the hot tub is special.
Yeah, let me get to the pool. I saw that a minute ago. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We also
We
have a sauna now on the ranch,
Oh,
on our
awesome.
island. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
perfect.
We that pool. Um, the third owners took over in 1951, and they put the pool in. So it's one of the oldest pools. Of course, it's been redone several times, but
Mm.
it's on the original footprint of the pool. And so yeah, that pool. In fact, I wasn't sure when I tell the story when we bought the ranch. I thought, what the heck is a dude ranch doing with a pool? I, I just didn't see where a pool was necessary. But we also are very much a family ranch where we're trying to promote families to come. Well, it didn't take me too long to realize that the pool's a kid magnet, and
Oh
they
yeah,
like it, and that's a big part of the ranch. And so we said, well, if we're going to keep it, let's fix it up. So we invested to make it a much more user friendly pool, and it's one of the highlights of the ranch.
awesome. Now, one of the things I didn't have time to get, or maybe I don't know if y'all sent it or not, but pictures of the food. People always want to know what kind of food they're going to eat. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, food is a big part. Again, it's part
Yeah,
of the hospitality, and that's a part of the package we offer. Is all the food is provided, and yeah, we're proud of our food program. We offer a pretty good variety of different types of food. It's certainly not all beans and hot dogs, but it's not all meat and potatoes either. One of the things, because both Cheri and I are very different in how we've eaten. So one of the things from the beginning is we said, okay, I'm sure there's a lot of other families that are the same as us. So we made sure that we emphasize that we will cater to individual preferences on food, and we still do that to this day. So we offer, options for vegetarians, pescatarians, vegans. You want meat and potatoes every day, we have that as well. But we offer a variety, and our kitchen is equipped and staffed in a manner that can accommodate those needs. So, yeah, so the food is not a problem. Breakfast, is served off of a menu, so guests can, be particular about what they want or how much they want. They want 6 eggs or one egg, uh, and dinners are uh, a combination of some sit-down dinners, plated dinners, and some are more barbecue style, where we do a buffet type thing out on our river porch outside. But yeah, and some we do some barbecuing as well. So we do a really nice variety.
now, do you do any trail rides where you go out and you do some campfire cooking while you're out?
Our breakfast ride is exactly that. We do
Okay.
that every Wednesday, where we go on a ride, and we'll wind up at the breakfast site, and we have a big breakfast there. They have scrambled eggs and pancakes and biscuits and cinnamon rolls and all kinds of meats and everything, and so it's all cooked right there in that. And so we arrive in that area, and the guests get down, and they have, and it always tastes just a little bit better when it's cooked outside,
That's
and it's
right.
right on the Colorado River. So it's a gorgeous location, and a lot of fun.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. And then I was also thinking when I was looking at the river pictures, do people catch fish and then they can that y'all cook them for the people to eat?
Well, yes and no. Yeah, if they're caught in the river, okay, because it is designated gold medal, uh, to be designated, it's catch and release.
Ah,
So if they catch a trophy trout, they do have to return it.
okay,
Um, but we do have a trout pond on the ranch, which is our own pond. It's our water. We buy the trout that goes in there. So if grandma or grandpa want to take little Johnny out to the pond and catch a fish, they can bring that fish back to our kitchen, and we can prepare it for dinner for them.
okay. And then I was also wondering, do you have one chef or multiple chefs? Because that sounds like a lot of cooking.
Yeah, yeah, we have multiple chefs.
Okay. All right. Well, gosh, we've almost talked for an hour. I can't believe it. I'm just enjoying this so much because
Yeah.
this is my love, and I can't wait to get out there and go to some of these dude ranches. Um, tell me, as the owner's doing this for over 30 years, how many years was it? 30,
It's
30
31.
31.
Yeah.
31 years. What are the benefits to you for owning and managing a dude ranch?
Well, I think the biggest benefit for me is I'm still here. If I was still in my former life, I'd be in a whole different situation than I am now. Doing something that you thoroughly enjoy. Not that I did not enjoy my former career as a executive, vice president, and so on, but just to be able to be out here and breathe the fresh air, live the lifestyle. I mean, that's what kept us here, is to be able to live this lifestyle and maintain it, and have the ranch, be able to not only take care of us, but enable us to be able to take care of the ranch and to be able to offer what we offer our guests. That's what keeps me going, and so that's the biggest part for me.
You, Miss Sherry?
It's basically similar. The outdoor, I loved my former career. I was teacher and coach and loved doing all that and thoroughly enjoyed it. But this is just everything else I love to do, and being outside and still have that element. You're still working with young adults, which is a good thing. The staff in that, and to just meet the variety of people that we meet, and to just be able to, you know, look out there and just beautiful countryside and there's just nothing about it not to like. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You mentioned two more questions. I'll let y'all go. I know you got to go do some ranching. You mentioned young people. Um, I'm a homeschool teacher as well. I do lots of different things, and I homeschooled my son. And I see a lot of young men in particular, girls too, but young men struggling with their lives to find their place in this world. And I wonder if you have any programs, if you offer any kind of programs, have you heard of any kind of programs that help to bring people out there to experience this lifestyle, maybe open up their eyes to what can be, and to help them with their lives to move forward?
Well, I mean, the we always say our staff is kind of made up of some different elements. And one is tweeners. Those are kids that have just graduated college, don't know what they want to do yet, et cetera, et cetera. And that gives them a chance to um, kind of do something in the interim, et cetera. And you have that kind of thing. You also have former kids who've grown up coming to the ranch, and then they decide they'd like to work here at the ranch someday. And so we have that. But our third category is what I call lost souls. And
Yeah,
it
the
falls
lost
exactly
boys
like
is
we
what I
were
call them.
talking about. It's those people, those young adults, and generally it is mostly the guys that are fall in that category that just don't know what they want to do, etc. Have no idea, none whatsoever. And we'll entertain that. We'll take a chance. We'll take a risk on a couple of individuals that maybe you know aren't as ideal on paper as others, but just kind of triggers something that we say, well, we think we're going to take a chance on them. And that's, you never know for sure how that's going to work out. Most times it works out great, sometimes it doesn't, but it's something that we would always do, because when it does work out, it really changes their lives. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
And then my last question is, what kind of advice would you have? Two part question for people that are considering a guest ranch or dude ranch vacation, and then also someone who may be considering doing what you do to run a ranch.
Well, on the first part, that to me is the toughest part of this job, is trying to sell to guests exactly what coming to a dude ranch would mean for them. And it's one thing if it's coming from, me or Cheri as owners, because we're the owners, but when they hear it from their peers, that's where it really kind of sets in more with them. And that's why uh, referrals from guests who were here, when they go back to work and they talk around the water cooler, or they talk to their neighbors, or they go to a party and talk about the vacation they had here, a lot of our new guests are a result of knowing people who were previously here. Okay, I mean, obviously, a large part of our clientele are the repeat guests. We're fortunate we have a very high percentage of guests who come back on a regular basis, or every other year type thing, if not every year. Cheri mentioned the one family who's been coming 15 years in a row. That's just one. We've had several that are that way. So so just trying to get the guests to understand, because as Cheri said earlier, what we're offering is an experience more than a vacation. Yes, it's a vacation, but it's not, going to the beach and sitting in the sand type thing. It's a combination of all the things that the guest ranch is: the atmosphere, the scenery, the food, the camaraderie with meeting other guests, and it's letting the kids run wild. Well, they can't do that at home. They could run around. Yes, they're supervised, but but they could be outside and doing things that they can't do at home. It's being able to be a family and eat together. Okay. And it's just and being able to do whatever you want. If you just want to sit and read books all week, or if you want to partake in every activity we offer: the fishing, the riding, the hiking, the mountain biking, the hatchet throwing, trap shooting, etc. You can do all that, or you can do as little of that as you want. So it's just the fact that we can offer such a combination of activities and just a feeling of being, like I say, out of your normal. If we can give them 1 week out of the other 51 where they can be refreshed, and it's hard to sell that verbally on the phone, but when they hear it from other people, they hear it from people who have been here. They're our best salespeople, the people who have been here, because they can project it better than I can, or it could be received better than it would be received from me.
Makes sense.
So, yeah.
And as far as wanting to purchase a ranch, the best thing they can do is go to the Dude Ranch Association convention, be able to spend time talking to ranchers and picking everybody's brains and what they do, and then going out and looking at, deciding, what is it that you're interested in, and going out and looking at some ranches that fall into those categories and just see how they function. Because no two ranches are identically the same. They're all run a little bit different. The terrain's different, how they sit, what their main philosophy is. Are they a resort ranch that takes 100 people, or are they a traditional dude ranch like us, or are they a working ranch? And is that what they want? So they need to narrow down what it is they're looking for, and they need to get out there and take a look and see what's going on.
Yeah, and I also think they have to be in the frame of mind that if they're interested, you're not buying it as a business that offers a lifestyle. Primarily, you got to look at it as you're buying a lifestyle that also offers the business. The lifestyle has to come first.
Makes sense. Yeah. So you were talking about all the different activities and everything kind of is all in one. These vacations are considered that all inclusive. But you're also next to or near the Rocky Mountain National Park, are you not?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
So do people go there during their week to do that?
Some
Oh,
do.
Or they
Yeah.
stay before and after
yeah,
vacation?
mostly it's before and after, because once they're at the ranch, we have so much to offer that there's really not a reason for them to have to leave. But because we are so close to Rocky Mountain National Park, and there's so much other sights to see and things to do in the area, a lot of our guests will come a day or two early, or maybe they'll stay a day or two after their stay at the ranch and partake in seeing all
Okay. I just wanted to
of
get that one
it.
in there because I
Yeah,
realized you were close by. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for
Well,
joining me today to share your story with me. I really appreciate you. And I've learned so much, and I can't wait to get out there and see it one day.
Well, we'd love to see you
good.
here,
We'd love to have you.
and, and,
Yeah,
and thank you for having
that'd be perfect. All right, y'all make sure that you go
Yeah,
and you
very much.
follow. Thank you. Make sure you follow Bar Lazy J on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Where else are you? Your
us.
website?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
barlazyj.com. That's the website, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
and put that up here real quick so people can see it. Yeah, go there and follow them for their information, their updates, and do the same thing for Wildflower Western Travel and Western Lifestyle Live. We really appreciate it. right, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a good day. And
Okay.
hopefully we'll
Yep,
get you
you
back
too.
there for updates. All right.
Hopefully see you down the
Okay.
trail.
See you down the
Yep.
trail. Thank you.
All right. Take care.